We're ready? I now call our council budget workshop to order. If you would be so kind to stand for our prayer and pledge. Councilmember Blunt, will you lead out?
Father, we thank you for such an opportunity to come together. We ask that you will continue to look upon us and grant us the wisdom, the understanding. Father, grant us the integrity, grant us the unity. And Father, grant us the divine wisdom to do the best that we can do for this city. And Father, as we pray, we ask that you will remember the things that are happening in our nation and even the local things that are physically going on, even in those on the members of our team. We ask that your divine intervention will help us to make it through these times. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Sure. I guess we need to be comfortable if we're gonna be here for a little bit. I brought my jacket.
I brought me.
You cold? Oh, Lord.
It's all right. I'll make it. I'm glad to remember to bring one.
Get you a heated blanket, heated shawl. Good. We'll move to approval of agenda. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Move second. Call for discussion. Any discussion about the agenda? If not, all in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hear none, motion carries. We'll move to agenda item number D, which is the agenda items, and we'll turn it over to Ms. Patty. In which order? You want us to start with the tabs?
Okay, so we're going to start with the first tab, which is the budget summary.
Okay,
And really, all that I'm going to say about the budget summary is that the total budget is including all funds, general funds, water, sewer, gas, and reserve funds is $18,112,611. Then we will go on to the general fund revenue and other financing sources. This is going to include all general fund revenues, which include all of our sales tax, ad valorem tax, discretionary surtax, local option fuel tax, as long as every other revenue that we use to fund our general fund, and including CRA as well.
okay,
The total general fund revenues are $10,906,830. That also includes estimated balances on projects, on grant projects.
You said revenue? Is it expenditures or revenue?
Sorry, it's revenues, but it's revenues.
10,906,830. Is that what you said? And it says total
It's on-
general fund expenditures.
are we looking at this?
Look on the last page.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, Ms. McCall. All I said on the budget summary was the
Okay.
total.
Thank
And
you.
then I went on to the general fund revenue pages.
It's the first time we've had to look at it, so
That's fine, I know. No
we didn't
problem.
get it ahead of time.
Yeah, I realize that. And feel free to stop me if something doesn't make sense, no problem at all. Are we good to go? Move forward?
Yes.
Yes,
So on the general fund revenue page, the total, you're going to go to the third page of the general fund revenues, and the total revenues is $10,906,830. Again, that includes all revenues for the general fund, and it will, those revenues cover the expenditures for the executive fund, the administration, the executive department, the administration department, the police department, the fire department, the street department, Amtrak,
You balanced to it is what that showed. Okay.
Yes, it is in balance.
That's very good,
It's not an easy task
I'm sure.
at all, but it's balanced.
I wouldn't want to have to do it.
And after our workshop tonight, we have our tentative millage and budget hearing. So you actually have the rest of the week. If there's any questions that you have and need to call me and ask any questions, I will not send it to the newspaper until Friday morning for advertising. the
Friday.
following Wednesday.
Okay.
Okay. The first department is the executive department. The total executive expenditures is $46,200. And I noticed I had 2 copies of the executive budget, so you may have 2.
Under
I don't think I do.
the Pride line item, is that Christmas lights and stuff like that? Or what?
Yeah, that's actually a line item that Guy uses for most stuff.
Okay.
If they're, we have bought a few flags out of there just for different areas of the city whenever there's, a request for that, just like decorative flags or whatever. But for the most part, Guy uses that line item.
The only thing we bought with Pride were the 6 watermelon flags. We had everything else that we got out of the old fire station.
That would be the only thing that we would take out of there other than what Guy would use it for, if a request came in for something like that. And that includes $1,000 for Council on Aging, $500 for Economic Development Council, $1,000 for the Early Learning Coalition, and $1,000 for Opportunity Florida. 2026 is going to be an election year, so we did have to include the 6,800 additional funds for the election expense. It could be a little less, it could be a little more, just depends on costs at the time. Okay. The next department is the administration department. This department includes the CRA budget, and there is a copy of the CRA budget attached to the back of this section.
This is where it got backwards, though.
Executive department, you said, right?
Administration,
Administration.
what does your sheet look like? That you said
I
is
had-
backwards.
Starts
Oh.
there. You're right behind that. So you
Okay.
got all those.
Okay.
They're apparently not next, so I don't know where they go.
Which ones were they, Cheryl?
CRA
It
budget,
goes behind this budget.
yes.
There should be.
Their supporting documents?
Yes. Supporting documents behind administration are going to be the CRA budget. Attorney Jordan's request for increase that she had sent to the mayor, and I believe she also made copies, maybe, or we did have council meeting one.
Yeah, I
but it
think I
was discussed
requested that
briefly.
everybody just get a copy of it,
Mhm.
so we'll be able to look at it before.
And then it also
That's it.
includes some documentation from CLS, our IT contractor. He
Okay.
has not in 13 years requested an increase. We've been paying him right around $11,000 a year for the last quite some time. And he is requesting that we increase his contract to $17,500.
Who is that?
Scott
CLS.
Skurlock with CLS. He does a lot of stuff for the city as far as the cameras, for the police department, for the parks. He does all of our IT work. Of course, if we need equipment, we have to purchase that separately from the contract. But the reason the contract's also going up is, if the council remembers last year, we did get that cybersecurity grant, and that requires even more than he was already helping us maintain, so it's definitely a reasonable increase.
What was that amount again? I'm sorry.
17,000.
17,000.
Okay. 17,500?
Yeah. $4,776,300, and that includes, 389,874 for the CRA budget. It's really difficult to tell on the attorney's fees, even with the increase, what her fees will be, because it's based on work she does for the city. So, if you look at the prior year, we spent probably $43,000 in attorney fees, and this year it went up to, so far, $68,676. Quite a bit of that, probably $23,000 of that is because of the spray field litigation that we're going through with the golf course
23,000 extra
so
dollars?
far.
I guess I guess I don't understand the price on that. Why are we being asked to pay for legal assistant stuff, paralegal, law clerks, third-year students, associate attorney? Why are we being asked to pay on any of that?
They do all her research and stuff.
Right, but why are we, that needs to be her paying them. Why are we paying that? Like, that's her employees. Why are we paying her employees? We're paying her as the attorney.
She's breaking it down so you'll know, I believe.
I think
I
she's
don't-
increased her staff, because it used to be just her and there was another gentleman, and now,
Instead of just saying,
Yeah,
Just
but if
her.
I hire an employee, I pay the employee.
yeah.
I don't expect,
Pay the staff.
Yeah, I think well, I know for a fact, I ain't no thinking to it. It like Ms. Call said, it is her staff that she's brought on to help with the workload. And so, I mean, that's just,
but that's her staff.
but she's transparency showing that you're not paying her salary to do everything.
well, it's kinda hard to go in with an open blanket, and we never know, I mean, I don't know if we were prepared for 68,000 or whatever
No, we
we're at
weren't.
right now. We were thinking around the 50th, and we're not even close to being where we need to be with that project. So it's like an unknown area. I think you gotta have, if we're budgeting, we gotta make sure we gotta have a range to better have how do we move forward? Because this is,
It varies from month to month, so, there's really no way for me to identify. There may be a way for her to identify, but she doesn't know what we're going to ask her to do for us. So as I email requests to her to work on things, an example, for October, we have multiple things that she's working on, the animal control ordinance, another policy for, that the police chief, requested be reviewed for additional revenue that we can bring into the city for the police department. There's, I think, at least 3 other things, the policy on the recreation background screenings, so those are all things that she's going to have to work on at our request, and until she's worked on them, I don't think she's gonna really know exactly how long it's gonna take her. So I don't know if that would be something that we would need to ask her, is that something that she's able to estimate? I don't know if she can or not.
Why is she not here?
She doesn't usually come to our budget meetings.
What is I know we do annual evaluations on our employees. Do we do annual evaluations on the attorney?
Never have.
Yeah.
And that,
never.
I don't understand how we can continue going up on a cost when we're not evaluating the service of the employee. And that's anybody. I mean, we don't give raises to our employees without making sure they're doing everything we need them to do in a timely manner. So if we're not doing that with the attorney, how can we justify going up on a fee? Like, are we getting what we're asking for at the current rate?
what did you budget for this amount
I ended up,
without me having to try
I
to find it?
separated out the other because it had increased so greatly and I was
Right.
kind of shocked. But I separated out our other professional services, which include multiple things. Some of that being our new planning consultant, not the 43,000, but probably maybe 20,000 of that was things that we requested the planning consultant to do on various projects. And then the other things are just annual things that we do. We have like a $4,000 a year that we have to spend to have an evaluation done on our other post-employment benefits that's required for auditing purposes. There's just multiple things that could come up, that would come out of there, but the only, based on what this year, 68,676, and we still have one more month. We actually have, we paid August, we have, this would not include September's, August for September's, because August would not have been paid until September. So it's going, I had to just put a number in there in hopes that we wouldn't have a lot of litigation costs involved in finalizing the golf course issue.
The monthly retainer increased to $750. What was the previous year's retainer?
500.
I just have a hard time giving raises to people that haven't had an evaluation.
It's gonna be hard to do because there's no, kinda like a job description. She had 3 more people. That's almost like saying, okay, I need more money.
Yeah, but that's her employees, not ours.
Right. So until we come up with a standard, and you can't come up with a standard if you got something new every year, but the jump from 40 to 60 says, we have to take a look to see what does not need her signature.
You know, maybe something we could request is maybe an agreement, a contract, and then maybe the contract would give us specifics on, it's still, there's still no way for her to put a dollar figure in there, except for what she's proposing in her hourly rates and her retainage. But maybe that contract would give us a better idea of everything that, you know, things that she might be required to work on for us, or, you know, and then that might help us. But I still don't know that she's going to be able to give us an estimated.
Right,
Right.
right.
I'm just saying it's a big jump.
She doesn't have to, she's not gonna be able to give us that, cause we don't know what's gonna come up, but we already know that she's given us a breakdown on her additional staff and what that in addition is gonna cost us when that happens, so we've got the numbers. If we get a project and there's gonna require 2 people to work on it, we already know what we're having to pay them in addition to the retainer.
And it, I'm not sure, but if you really look at what she's proposing, it could benefit the city a little bit.
Yeah.
Because instead of us paying a standard rate to her of $200, now maybe we will be paying and these aren't the figures, I'm not looking at it, but $95 for this person to work on it instead of $200 for her to, you know, just for her general hourly rate. So it could benefit us if that's the way it works out.
But I'm not saying
I don't
anything
know
about
for
the,
sure.
I mean, she's got the numbers here, I don't have a problem with that if it balances and we can find the funds to do it. My heartburn is that we don't do an evaluation. And I don't know how you can hold on to an employee without an evaluation. I know she's contract labor or whatever you wanna call it. But in reality, it's still an employee that we are paying to do a service that we're not doing any kind of evaluation on to make sure that service is being rendered.
Well, that'd be the
I-
same thing for every contract, David Melvin and every other one we have, grant contractors.
Well, and she works at the pleasure of the council, so
Right.
that would be something the council would need to decide on.
I know she's not a city employee.
Right.
She's just our legal, because, we went through, yeah, so she's not like an employee, she just provide us the legal counsel that we need,
You
so.
could say the same thing with CRA. We don't do an
Yeah.
evaluation for CRA.
And
but
that
yet-
needs to be done too, as we
But I
can
do think
have
that,
an empathy.
you know, the question is, bottom line is, if we can afford, we maybe can't afford not to accept the numbers, but, I would hope that they're in line with, what it's costing to find that labor today. Good help is hard to find. Maybe I'm in the wrong field.
Is there anything specific that you would like me to ask her, or?
just thinking, on the worst case scenario, if you multiply the 750, that times 12, that has to take place. That's the retainer. If nothing is done, 750. And there's always stuff to be done, but you can multiply that number. And it just depends at her pleasure if she uses one or two or the other to help assist with it, or maybe something that she does. She may do it herself. I don't know. Then it may not be. I don't know. I don't know how we're gonna tackle this.
If it go up beyond what it is, then, I don't know. The suggestion is just sit down and review instead of, evaluation, maybe a review. So we just keep it running account of, so this is what it is, cause I definitely I don't know.
Yeah, well,
A review.
very good. She's here, so
Yep.
she can answer any questions we have. Okay.
What is the other rates for other cities that attorneys charge per hour?
Well, Walton County just signed an agreement with their attorney for $50,000 a month for a flat retainer, plus $400 an hour for litigation. Beyond that, plus 1% of all of their real estate closings, plus the title insurance premium, plus half of whatever bond counsel receives for any bonds that are issued.
So I would hate to be compared to Walton County, considering that they're county level and not municipal,
What about
because
Jackson,
they're very,
Marion or so?
So all of my clients.
for the
got
city of
raises.
Mariana.
Everybody's retainer went up. I worked with the same retainer for the city of Chipley since 2011. Y'all have paid $500 a month for that retainer. Everybody that was at 500 went to 750. Everybody that was at 350 went to 500. Jackson County has gone from $1,000 to 1,500. I've adjusted my hourly rate to keep up with market. Bonifay is currently paying $3,000 a month on a retainer plus $300 an hour for work done above, I think, 20 hours a month.
Wow, Bonifay?
Attorney Jordan,
And
can you?
he's coming out of Crestview to do that.
One of
Very
the
good.
questions that was asked was, how does it work with your employees? And I was explaining that I'm not sure exactly how it works, but it's possible that since you now have it broke down, instead of charging us 200, I'm just using a figure, say $200 an hour for your work to be done, if you're having the work, if you have, instead of you doing the work, maybe a paralegal doing the work, it's not going to cost us $200 an hour versus what the paralegal cost. Is that why you break it down, or how exactly does that work?
Right, and that's not new. That's been in your letters in the past. So I typically hire third-year law students from FSU as remote law clerks. They do research. They draft internal memos to me. I also have a Florida registered paralegal. She handles most of the kind of day-to-day processing of your litigation. And unfortunately, this past year, you have had a litigation an issue that the city hasn't faced in the past before. You've had a litigation matter that was not covered by your insurance. It's been coming straight out of your pocket, and there's not much I can do about that. That's the golf course case.
That's the golf course.
So basically, this is a transparency thing. You're letting us know that when you're not you've assigned it to one of them, that's what it costs the city instead of us paying you.
Correct. And if you look on your invoices, like I already have it broken down, so you'll see beside my billing software won't let me break it down per user, but you'll see initials at the end of the time entry, and then there will be a different billable amount. And I don't charge you if I don't have an assistant right now that handles mail outs, but I don't charge for things like that. But if my assistant sits down and has to redraft a document, say, I can only get an old document in a PDF format, and we have to retype that, and my assistant has to retype that, you have to pay for that time.
So again,
But-
that's more inexpensive than just
Correct.
having a flat rate of paying an attorney rate.
Right.
And I think that's what the question was, and I was trying to explain,
Oh,
but
I
I wasn't sure
understand.
if I was explaining it
And y'all
right.
do that for every one of your professionals, with all your engineering firms, architectural firms, Kimberly Horn, they all breakdown from their principals, who are usually at higher rates than me, down to secretarial administrative assistant costs.
You've been here since 2011. Have you ever gone through any type of evaluation questions or anything like that?
No.
See, that, and that's my concern, because we don't do that with CRA either. And we see what shape we ran into this year with that, is that I would like to see some type of evaluation, because one, you can't fire somebody if you don't have a paper trail of issues and problems that's documented. That's just from an education standpoint. So if you're gonna argue numbers and say we need to pay this, we also need to have something in place where at the end of each year, we sit down with her even as a counselor or as you and say, these are the things we're happy with, these are the things we're not happy with. Because if she doesn't know, and we don't know, how do we make any kind of change for the better or the worse? You can't get rid of somebody if you haven't talked to them prior.
But you've got to do that then for every consultant we have.
You do need to do that for every consultant.
But I don't think we have a contractual. This is just, we go from year to year. We don't have to work, I mean, that's
I don't
just
even
it.
remember the last
I
time
don't even
we
think we've done
actually signed
a
contract.
contractual.
Right.
We've
This
never
was-
had a contract in place.
We haven't, this just was, hey, my rates is going up before budget, and here's the numbers. So as we go through budget, we'll be able to know this is the new rate that's gonna be requested. So I don't know how you can do that when it's a year to year.
Is it standard not to have a contract?
I don't think I have written contracts with anybody right now. So many of my communities are just so casual about my appointment. I mean, I always work at the pleasure of any board,
Right.
so, I mean, you can,
So you're saying that you started in 2011 at $500 retainer, and you hadn't had a raise since then?
not in the retainer, no.
It did change though. Originally it included some meetings, I believe in 2011, and then later when you kept it at 500, I believe, or you just took meetings out of it, and then we got charged separately for
You
other
still-
meetings.
You still get your regular meeting.
Right, but before it
Time and that.
included like the regular meeting and a couple of meetings.
We could
Because you used
workshop.
to have
Because we had
workshop,
workshops
right.
at the time,
Yeah.
and it included a few things, I remember.
Mhm.
But then when it changed, the rate stayed the same. It just, those couple of meetings were taken out. But Attorney Jordan doesn't have to attend every single one of our meetings.
And
there's not
really,
something that-
$250 is not much for 14 years.
I just think, you're just gonna have to be prepared for the differences in the different levels that's gonna be help and assist with some of our cases. Where maybe, I don't know, maybe you absorbed all that for 14 years and just did it yourself.
No, I mean, like,
It's been
I
there.
do,
But-
it is separated on the bill. Now, I don't know everybody's initials, but it seems like I've seen HU. Is that Heather?
that's Heather, and
Okay.
MG, that's
Is she
Matt.
the paralegal?
Yeah.
Okay.
And she's a
and-
Florida registered paralegal, so she
Mhm.
has to go through continuing ed, she's not just a
Mhm.
secretary.
And that's what I was trying to explain, just again, didn't know if I was explaining it properly, was instead of it just being you and us getting charged everything through you at a higher
At her rate, yeah,
then you have lower rates for other individuals in the office.
which is no different than any of the engineering
Right.
firms.
Right.
So,
Any other questions then?
And again, Attorney Jordan works at the pleasure of the council, so
Yep.
that would be something that the council would need to decide if they wanted to do any type of, that wouldn't be for me to do, if you wanted some type of,
I just feel like a check and balance system
Evaluation
across,
done.
not just with her. I mean, just in general, a check and balance system is always document, document, document. Like you have no legs to stand on if you don't have documentation.
Okay.
so we're good? Okay.
There you go, so I can grab it back before I forget it.
thank you.
Very good.
Thank you, Attorney
Thank
Jordan.
you.
So that number in the budget is just an estimated number. There's
That's
no way
right.
for us to know for sure, so it could go up, it could go down. And again, the biggest factor is going to be the litigation, how much that ends up costing in the end.
Where does that additional come from?
Well,
Like
you
if it
know,
goes up, where do we pull the money from?
we always hope that, we have always had good luck in the past with, we end up with additional revenues throughout the year and we amend them into the budget, and
Gonna come from my water bill for all these dry months here.
I just hear pull from reserve a lot here lately, and that's,
Well, that one project's killing us, is what it is.
The next budget is the police department. And that total budget is $1,538,318.
Give us a minute to get to it, please.
Give me an idea, Chief, if you would, your vehicles, how you are now with, are your vehicles all running? Are we caught up?
We have a 2019 Charger that's still in service.
That's the black one, right?
No, it's black and white.
Black one, okay.
We were just able, actually yesterday, to remove the black 2018 Charger from it. 2019 is the one you saw training on the
Last
road
week.
last week. No, I'm sorry, it was the 2016. We have a 2021 Interceptor, which would be the next oldest vehicle.
So you've really improved them from last year.
We
If I
have
remember.
improved tremendously
Okay.
on our vehicles. We needed to replace the 2019 Charger, and the spares are in very bad condition, as you saw last year.
Okay, but just glancing through this, did I,
I think there's a page I see in here where you got urgent replacement of high mileage patrol vehicles and investigator truck, and you've got them listed.
If you'll go to the third page of the actual budget.
There's no page numbers.
it's, yeah, I know it.
It's going,
Just
it's,
the
the
third
first
page.
and second pages are numbers.
Yeah.
And then the third page is going to have a bunch of stuff written out, typed out.
Well, that's what I was reading, as he was going, I was going down the line.
Yeah, so at the time that we did the budget proposal, we did not have the three vehicles that we have received now.
Okay.
So as far as high mileage vehicles currently in service, that's gonna be the 2019 Charger. Our hopes is to get the oldest vehicles that we have replaced so that our oldest vehicles will be good spares. Instead of
Okay.
what it was last week.
I just wanted the overview, thank you. But like I said, we didn't get this until we just sat down, so I didn't have time to go through.
Right.
But I wanted to hear it from you, because I'm,
And we do have, one of the investigators' vehicles is a, will be able to apply for a anti-tank weapon.
Very good.
Which one is that, Chief Register?
That's a 2006 F-150.
Is that the white,
Williams is driving.
the white one?
Investigator truck. Are we still gonna go through this, Chief? or we-
Yes,
you
I was
get-
going
Okay.
to run through the actual items that are in the budget that are affected by, well, some of his requests that he asked for. Okay, so we were able to leave the two patrol car radar units in the budget. They are to replace two other radar units, for a total of $5,180.50. We were able to leave the $9,800 for the patrol car graphic design and installation in the budget. That was discussed with each council member last year, but it ended up being a lot more expensive than what was expected, so we didn't start on it last year, and then he included it in his budget this year. The flock camera system for $12,500. That is 5 cameras, and those have been in the budget for a couple of years now, so, but they will remain in the budget. The Ubiquity AI interface for $800. That is in the budget. He requested 5 vehicles. 4 are included in the legislative appropriations that we're requesting.
How many?
4 of them.
Okay.
And so the other one, we did include include in the budget. And it will replace a patrol vehicle, and will that be the 2000, what year is it?
19.
2019, so that will replace that one.
That'd be great. So then we'll have, the oldest one will be a 2021 Interceptor, right? That's a lot better shape than last year.
The less lethal equipment, the 4 pepperball guns, those are also going to be included in the legislative appropriations when that's submitted, so it's not in this budget. The Motorola tag reader activation and annual license fee for $5,500 is included in the budget. The 3 patrol laptops are replacement laptops that need to be replaced, and that total is $85.80 total for all 3, $8,580. The simunition rounds for $2,500, we actually did apply and receive a grant for $1,360 for the simunition rounds, so they're not included in the budget. And the downtown camera project, the annual cost of that was already included in the budget last year, and it remained in the budget this year. Radio reprogramming and maintenance for $1,500 is also included in the budget. And 4 bulletproof vests are included in the budget. We do have a 50/50 BVP grant with U.S. Department of Justice, and the amount that we have approved is $2,308. So we'll have to spend, I think it was about $2,500. It looks like, or close to $3,000. As far as the police card loan payments, we do have 1 patrol vehicle that we will make the final payment on this year. In 25-26, the budget that we're discussing. And we have 1 patrol vehicle that we will make payment number 2 of 7. 1 patrol vehicle that we will make payment number 2 of 5, and then the new patrol vehicle loan will be payment number 1 of 7. It is a $75,000 vehicle with everything that it needs to be equipped for police, so it's not a 5-year loan. And then we applied for the COPS grant. We will not know until October if that is approved. So at that point, we may have to come back and revisit and have discussions on that, the funding for that, because not only are we going to be responsible for a portion of that grant, but we're also going to need vehicles for those and equipment for those officers to be able to function. So,
How much was the COPS grant?
I'm sorry.
How much was the COPS grant?
Oh, overall, it was around close to 500,000.
Okay.
But they give us 250 total, 250,000 total over 3 years, I believe it was. Does that sound right?
So,
Yeah. I want to say it was close, it was like 470,000 or something. We did cut a couple of things from the budget, but they were all things that I discussed earlier due to legislative appropriations or other grant funding being available to help assist with the cost of those. And I think that's everything on the police budget. Now, Chief Richter does have a 10 or 11 page detailed information on his budget, and it's very interesting and very helpful.
We'll have to read it later since we didn't get it.
Yes, yes.
I'm with Ms. Kane, though, that this is wonderful documentation, but it's in a, can we bullet point these instead of running these all together?
What?
The line items that are being added to
These
the
line
budget.
items that you just read, you see what I'm saying, that there is a semicolon that,
Yes, because some years it's very little, and some years it's a lot of information. So
Well,
if the
just-
council's fine with many, many pages, then I don't have a problem doing
I'm
bullet
fine with
points.
this.
But
It's all right like it is. It's just hard to follow.
is, yeah.
And that's why those items I go through with you, so that you can understand what we're doing there.
That's a lot for police. Thank you for the detailed report.
thank you for the job you do. You do a great job.
We're very hopeful that legislative appropriations will cover us
You can read that
this
later.
year.
Next is the fire department budget. And on the fire department budget, the total fire department, and that was something I don't think I read off on the police budget. The police budget is actually a pretty large budget, very large budget. $1,538,318. The fire department budget is $790,914. That does include the $409,000 for the truck that we're supposed to receive next month, hopefully,
Yes.
which is grant funds that we have in deferred revenue. Is it still October, Chief? Maybe November,
This year?
by December. It is being billed,
Okay.
yes. It also includes the bond payment for USDA for the building, which is one half, and then the other half is taken out of the police department budget for the fire and police building. And then it also includes the USDA bond payment for the fire truck.
I do know that we have another meeting scheduled for 5:05, but I'm assuming we're gonna have to be delayed
Yes.
because we haven't been through.
We cannot start the meeting early, but we can start it.
We can start it right about later.
I'll speak quicker. The only items cut from this budget was the six new sets of bumper gear. And that was because we had just gotten notified yesterday, I believe, that we did receive the Florida Department of Financial Services grant of just over $32,000 that will buy that bumper gear.
Wonderful.
Oh, God.
It was approved.
32,000. Very good.
Who did the grant?
I'm sorry?
Who did the grant?
It was just a grant that we submit. It's a one-pager.
Oh, okay.
It's not a, Hunter writes it up and emails it in.
Good deal.
Hunter did it.
That's what.
Very good.
Thank you, Hunter.
The next budget is the street department budget. And that total budget is $6,189,321. Of course, that does include almost $5 million in grant funding
Okay.
in projects that are ongoing. We did not include any paving, but something I did look at today, and kind of reviewed pretty thoroughly is that when you look back at the budgets and what priority listing Guy has included in the past, it's not getting smaller because there's always a road to add, but we are accomplishing some of those roads through grant funding. So we are getting funded for projects that are getting some of these streets paved. Right now, we do have Pecan that was on here. Well, Pecan was approved for $750,000 through legislative appropriations, and now we're waiting and should know by December if we are going to get the other portion of that through INSCOP. So, we
Is
are
that-
getting streets paved. It's just
It's a process.
process, yes. Now, Guy, again, just like last night, had quite a few items we had to cut, but he did have some that did get left in his budget.
Yeah.
So there's a list of things that were removed, but we did include, a new 2025 Ford F-550 truck with a dump body, and that would be a loan that we would, have 7 annual payments on. And we also included a new inmate transit van. We have a few of those, and we've been having to utilize the ones that are broke down for parts to repair the one that is running. So we definitely need one. We right now do have a couple of inmates, and we do have an inmate supervisor, so we're.
Who is a
hoping to get one.
supervisor?
Timothy Ramirez.
He's doing a good job.
I know this is probably just nitpicky, but when they mow the sides of the road, don't let them blow it out in the highway.
I'll talk to him.
It's nasty looking.
The motorcyclists will appreciate that.
All down
Thank you.
Third Street, when they did that, it was just covered with grass. I was hoping they was gonna come back with a blower and blow it to the side, but they didn't.
The other item that I wanted to point out in the street budget is the legendary lawn maintenance contract. They have not requested an increase at all since we've been with them. And they are requesting an increase for cemetery of $11,400 added to the annual contract amount. And then an increase to the mowing contract for grounds maintenance in the amount of $11,500.
Just a question on that guy, are they required to like weed eat inside the graves as well as outside? Because there are graves at Glenwood that it's waist high in Bahia
Yeah.
that they're not cutting.
And spraying, or
So
spraying.
I'm just,
We,
and I know that's a headache on top of itself, so.
we actually, Guy sent me a proposal, and we're going to bring it to the council in October to discuss it, of things that he would like to see done again at the cemetery that we have not been doing. And you might can elaborate on that a little bit, but
Please.
we're going to definitely bring that to the council in October for discussion.
Yeah, one of the things I wanted to do is, it's been brought up before about spraying, and spraying is the only way you're gonna keep control of that.
Yep.
And we quit because we were having complaints, so my suggestion was, we'll spray. And somebody's gonna complain, but then I'll tell that person, all right, then you need to maintain your grade, and then if you don't, then we'll go back to spraying it. We'll give you the option.
I have no
if you
problem
don't
with
want
that.
And all they're gonna do is spray. I mean,
Right.
Yeah, I have no problem with that at
Yeah,
all.
we've got,
Also, the flowers,
Also, I took pictures and put it, in a presentation, but you go out there, there's a lot of flowers, that aren't in a holder. And the lawn care company doesn't want to take somebody's flowers and throw them away, so I looked at those cemeteries, their rules and things like, and there's a lot of different ways, but I thought probably the least aggressive to start with was 3 times a year, we'll go through there, if the flowers aren't in the holder, we take them, dispose of them, that way they can weed eat without getting the sick flowers.
And remember, on Veterans Day, the VFW, we do that as part of the pickup.
Right, and one of the things that, I had put in there also, we'll put a sign at the entrance, 30 days prior to, so if there's some flowers out there that you won't get, then go ahead and get them. And like I said, if they're in a holder, a lot of those graves have a holder built in or something like that, we won't mess with those.
Do we have something there they can throw the dead flowers in?
Yeah, they're trash
Just
cans.
trash cans. I'd like to see something added about the flags too, because you got a lot of folks putting flags out there and they're ratted, tatted, faded, and
I've
We
taken
got-
a couple down,
I
I
know.
haven't gone back and replaced it with anything, I figured
No.
the family
No,
members, if
they
they come
need
by,
to.
they'll.
There's one on Daughtry's grave that needs to go. It's nothing but
it's
just,
just, I
2
mean, I don't
feet
know
of
how you make
stringers.
that where you said we're not putting flags out. But we have 3 flags in the cemetery that represents everybody, because they're putting these flags out and they're not taking care of them. Even the ones that go put the little temporary flags, they put them out there on Veterans Day, and then you go back 3 weeks later and they're blowing all over the yard and everywhere else, so.
so I think if we have an organization like the Reefs Across America,
Mhm.
that's a great thing, but in 3 weeks, we need to make sure we go back
And take 'em up.
and pull them up, because it looks pretty bad.
it was discussed over the years to put some type of a policy in place,
Yeah.
and it just has never
Or
been
just rules.
discussed any
Right,
further,
it just needs to be
so
rules.
I definitely think it's a good idea, so that we can even give something to people when they come in and purchase
Yeah.
cemetery lots, and so that they're aware.
and you can post it out there too, at the entrance, that once you
Oh,
get
and you
there.
have like a military funeral and you look and there's flags that are faded and shredded all over the place. And
Very
you're
good.
burying somebody out that's a military person, so
That's a good,
I'm all
Good
for it.
plan.
that's a good plan. Thank you, Guy.
Appreciate it.
Mhm.
Do you have, and I apologize, I didn't ask if you had any questions for Chief Acock on the fire budget?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
No questions?
Did they need a vacuum, little vacuum machine? Did I hear somewhere? Your guys?
Water department, you You talking about the back trade?
Oh, that's in the water, okay. That's what I had heard, okay.
And that was included in the
Okay.
budget last night, or yesterday, that was discussed,
Mhm.
Councilman on the call.
Thank you.
And it was balanced, that budget, so.
Okay, thank you. I just knew I had heard it somewhere that they needed the little one.
The next budget is the recreation department. And Councilmember McCall, I'm sorry, Councilmember Payne, I actually do remember you requesting me to put page numbers on these last year, and I apologize for that, but we will make sure that they're on the
That's
next
all
year.
right. Page numbers.
The total recreation budget, and I believe Rob came in, but he has games that, or
That's right.
practices that start today. And he said that the coaches are usually pretty demanding that first day, so I told him just to go ahead and leave whenever he needed to. The total budget for recreation is $559,157. That does include the Shivers Park and Gilmore Park grants, that we are getting ready to advertise soon for work to start in both of those parks. So, in the next few weeks, we should have information out for that. And other than that, his budget is pretty much, consistent with what it was last year, just some small increases. The only thing that we did cut from this budget was the batting cage. If it was built by the city, it would cost around $24,200. If it was built by a contractor, it would be around $37,200. We have included batting cages in the Jim Trawick, application submission for FERDAP. It was included last year. Governor did not, approve the funding for FERDAP grants last legislative session, but we're hopeful that for the next one he will, and that grant will get funded.
Was all the number that he needed, was just one
We
additional one?
actually, I believe in that grant, we included one new one and a renovation on the current one,
Okay.
so.
When will we hear from that grant?
It is just being submitted this month.
Okay.
And we will know after the legislative session next year. The only other budget is the farmer's market, Amtrak and farmer's market, and that just, actually it went down a little bit. That's pretty standard costs, and it's just $6,620.
They haven't been out there the past couple, for like 3 weeks on the Thursdays. Does anybody know anything why?
For what?
Out at the, there haven't been anybody, hasn't been anybody.
At the
there.
farmer's market.
Market.
They probably didn't have
Yeah, they
anything to
just
sell.
haven't rained.
Yeah.
And we've been advertising, Sherry had
Yeah.
posts something every week.
I saw, I just didn't know what the,
Attention, but
somebody asked me and I said, I don't know.
We haven't heard of any issues.
Okay.
I think they just doesn't have anything right now to sell.
That is the total general fund budget, $13,906,830. The total overall budget to include the enterprise funds that we went over yesterday is $18,112,611. I did want to mention just, since that came up about the farmer's market, we did stick some signs out at the city parking lot, just for cleaners off Florida, noting we did not have any issues with people leaving with garbage or even setting up there, so it worked out great. I don't believe the police had to remove anybody, so, I don't know if the signs worked, but we did put them out there.
It's something. I drove by a couple times, I didn't see anybody. Any further questions? If not, we'll go ahead and close out this meeting. And do y'all need a minute, or can we go into the next meeting? Go into the next one. Okay, we'll give her a minute to get it all set up. Thank you, Chief.
Are we recording it?
Recording in progress.
I now call our special council meeting and tentative millage and budget hearing to order. At the pleasure of the board, do you want to skip the prayer and pledge and let's move forward, or we can, okay? Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Move second, all in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, hearing none, motion carries. We go to agenda items. Number one, resolution number 25-50.
Resolution number 25-50, tentatively adopt the final millage rate for fiscal year 2025-2026. Resolution number 25-50, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Chipley of Washington County, Florida, adopting the tentative millage rate for fiscal year 2025-2026 and providing for an effective date. Whereas the City of Chipley of Washington County, Florida, on September 29, 2025, will adopt the fiscal year 2025-2026 final millage rate following a public hearing as required by Florida Statute 200.065. And whereas the City of Chipley of Washington County, Florida, will hold a public hearing as required by Florida Statute 200.065. And whereas the gross taxable value for operating purposes not exempt from taxation within Washington County has been certified by the county property appraiser to the City of Chipley as $212,228,725. The fiscal year 2025-2026 tentative operating millage rate is 7.0000 mills, which is more than the rollback rate of 6.4540 mills by 8.46%.
It's the same thing it was last year.
We're not increasing the millage, it's 7 mills, but of
Right.
course, due to property values going up, it does increase the tax base.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Moved second, call for discussion, any discussion? Not all in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Number two, resolution number 25-51.
Resolution number 25-51, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Chipley of Washington County, Florida, adopting the tentative budget for fiscal year 2025-2026 and providing for an effective date. Whereas the City of Chipley of Washington County, Florida, on September 29, 2025, will hold a public hearing as required by Florida Statute 200.065. And whereas at the said public hearing, it will be publicly announced that the final millage rate is more than the rollback rate of 6.4540 mills by 8.46%. And whereas the City of Chipley of Washington County, Florida, set forth appropriations and revenue estimates for the final budget for fiscal year 2025-2026 and the amount of $18,112,611.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Moved second, call for discussion, any discussion? If not, all in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. That's all we have tonight, this meeting's adjourned.
Now we'll meet again on the 29th.
We will have the 29th.
Recording